Alright folks, welcome to this exciting video where you once again join me in the wild landscape of Scotland and just take a look at this view. It's one of my favourite views in Scotland here, and I've basically stopped in Glen Clova today, and I'm just thinking I'm going to go to the peak of this hill on the track, and we're going to go to Loch Wharral, which is an incredible hilltop loch in the Angus area here. And considering the height of these hills, it's amazing to think that there's a loch up there. You would think the water would just run down through, but that shows the stone content under the ground here. It's able to hold the water at the top of the hill. So the thing with Loch Wharral up here on the hill, it actually looks like it's closer than what it is. Once you start walking on these hills, you realise that they're absolutely massive, and because of the steep uphill conditions further in the path, I'm just pacing myself at this early stage. But I've just looked at the time and it's 4:15, so I'll see what time it is when I get to the top, and that'll give me an idea of how long obviously I've walked up here. Check this out folks, the incredible atmosphere created from the shadow of the clouds moving over the hills. Now and again the light just disappears. The scenes are just mad. The further up this hill we get here, the scenes just get more incredible, and I just absolutely love the adventure. This is a perfect path for this time of year, and it should take us all the way to the top of the hill. The only trouble with these wee hilltop paths, like, they don't go in a straight line, so you're just walking miles, like waving across the hill. A lot of the time these paths are put in for estate workers or shooters, maybe even fishing up here at Loch Wharral. Loch Wharral also has a bothy, which is like a little wooden hut, which used to be a place where walkers could shelter from the bad weather. But I think the last time I walked up here it was actually locked after the COVID situation. I think a lot of people were coming up here at weekends as like a bit of a retreat, so the estate ended up locking the bothy. But I remember one time years ago we went up there for a picnic, and we actually sat in the bothy and had a little cuppy next to the wooden log burning stove. And it's sad that now that's like not available, but maybe nowadays it is open, and that's what we'll see in this adventure. I've not been up here for so long, places change over the years. Even the landscape itself, it's mega and vast, and Loch Wharral's got a big stone like cliff around one side of it. Check it out folks, there's a little stream to cross here. What a mad adventure this is. I love just getting out into nature, into the wildest of lands, and the scene is just always incredible. And I just love seeing these vast hills with all the crazy plants and wildlife around, and then little waterfalls like this. I've walked so far up the hill now folks. You can see Airlie Monument on top of the hill at the far distance of the glen there, and you can see how much the landscape's changed now I've come further up on the hill. And one of the crazy things with the hilltops, once you get to the higher heights, there's less oxygen and you get so much more tired out in less time, and that's one of these occasions. Like, once you get to the top of these hills, you're looking down over the valley and everything just looks like a miniature world, and it's special to see that at times. But I'm glad I put on the new hat today because the sun is fierce and ferocious. Now and again a cloud goes in front of it, but apart from that, super warm. And the car was saying 18 degrees Celsius when I was at the bottom of the hill, so the temperature won't be far from that up here. And on a hill like this, there's an extreme humidity caused from the amount of moisture in this bogland which we're going through right now. and there's tons of these little songbirds. You can also see now we're higher on the hill, there's no wind compared to down there. I was having to cover the back of the camera to keep the wind off it, and now we've come up above that level. The scene here is just so special. I'll give you a time update as well. It was 4:15 when I was down there. Oh, now it's 5:25. So that's been 21 minutes I've been walking. And I'm not actually at the top of the hill yet, but I'm pretty close. I would say I'm 3/4 of the way there now or more. Anyway, let's get into action, folks. I've now come up the steepest part of that hill, and I was absolutely gassed out coming up there. I was just forcing myself each footstep to go further and further. The steepness and the height of these hills cannot be exaggerated. And now I've just about made it to Loch Wharral. I can see the massive surrounding cliffs here, and I can't wait to see the water of the loch in its full glory. Check it out, we can see up Glendall direction now. Further up Glen Clova, leading into Glendall, and then down this way, down to Courthay Estate, leading on all the way down to Kirriemuir and towns like that, into the Angus Glens and then the Strathmore Valley. The lands that we can see from here are just incredible, and I think once we get up to the little bothy, we'll be able to see the hills of Perthshire in the distance. And I can see there's wasps flying around me at the moment. Some of them are out getting this purple heather. Scotland's famous for its thistles, but another plant that Scotland's also famous for, it's just as popular around here, the famous purple heather, which covers these hills at this time of year. And it's just an incredible show. And in the next like month and a half, the hills will get even more purple around here. This is just the early days of the heather. Adventure update, folks. I've made it to the top of the hill and I can see the bothy, but it actually looks like there's 2 Land Rovers parked up here, so I'm not sure if there's shooting or something on the day. I'm going to have to be so careful from now on. Hopefully they're out fishing on the loch, but if they're shooting, we'll have to get out of here pretty pronto. Check it out, folks, mission accomplished here. We've made it to the shores of Loch Wharral, up that steep hill. Oh, there's a wee dog here. Hello. Cool little dog there. Shout out if that's your dog and that's you over there. Check this out, folks. This is mad tick territory around here. That's why I've been so careful in today's adventure. I'm just wanting to go down here to the edge of the water before I've completed this adventure. I need to touch the water. Here we are. Loch Wharral, folks, 2023. Look at that pure clear Scottish loch water right there. And just check that incredible backdrop with the mad like cliffs at this time of year covered with the greenery, the heather and the shrubs. And I think certain times of year, like in the winter, this place is like sparse and hardly vegetated at all. I can actually see I've gotten water on the lens there. So there we are, folks. Once again, a postcard of Scotland on this video. And I'm always blown away by the scenery when I come to places like this. To think there's lochs like this up on these hilltops. Over another valley from here, there's Loch Brandy, another famous loch that we'll have to visit soon on a video. But I just love how the water just carves its way through the lands here in Scotland. The way these grey cliffs are up behind the loch, it's got so much character. So I think in this area there's a few hilltop paths and things that you can take that goes right along the top of these cliffs here. And there's also an old plane from World War II, I believe it's US Air Force, at the far side of this hill. And when I walked up there with the Channel D, it was a complete survival situation. We just about got stuck on the hill and we just made it back before sunset. And that adventure is back on the channel. There's been some crazy times over the years, but I think this is the first time I've been up here when it's been the middle of the summer. It's so warm. Coming up the hill there, I was just overheating pretty much. I was just pushing to get up here, and I'm so glad I've made it to the shores here for a chill out. And it's going to be so much easier walking back down the hill for sure. So there you are, folks, the incredible scene of Loch Wharral, and another piece of Scottish landscape documented at this time of year. Now I'm going to head on with this adventure and head back off this hill and see what madness we get into right here. So once again, as I walk away from here, I'm just blown away by the scenery. It's like we're just walking about in the sky when we're up at the top of this hill. And I'm just like blown away also by the distance that I can see. Right over, further than like Killarney Tower and stuff like that, over by Newtile, over to the hills between us and Dundee and lands like that, on towards the faraway hills in the distance, Perthshire and areas like that. Another incredible thing around here, the sky can just look so incredible, the way the clouds are with the blue sky. You get all sorts of those clouds. Sometimes they're pure white, other times you get a dark grey cloud coming along and it almost looks like it would rain at any moment, and then it just blows on by. Oh, I forgot to check the time when I got to the top of the hill. I forgot. So that was a waste of time even looking. It's actually, what time now? 5:15. Because I just chilled out there probably like 10 minutes at the side of the loch. I wasn't really too long up there. I just caught my breath and regained my energy and then on with this adventure. Sometimes at the weekend I'm limited for time, and if I go for a walk like this I often go somewhere else after it, and I'm not even sure where I'm going to go yet or if I'm doing anything else today. And it's cool sometimes just having spontaneous adventures. And when I saw the path up the hill here for Loch Wharral, I just thought, why not just go up there? Last time I walked up here I could remember it was like proper tiring, so I thought I would test my fitness here at this time of year. And like, it's so much harder if the sun's beating down and it's the pure heat, but at least at this time of year we can just wear the thin coat. If you came up here in the winter it would be like -10 or more, and that's the opposite extreme. In Scotland you just get some crazy differences in the weather from summer to winter. A lot of these big stones on the hill here were left from the glaciation period in Scotland here, back like thousands of years ago, different times in the land. Nowadays it's a green, incredible green scene out here. It's literally just like looking at a postcard when I see all that fields leading off and the way the valley is. And I can see Early Monument at the bottom of the hill, but I think it's so far away you won't even be able to see it on the video. On this channel I love being able to share these almost Lord of the Rings like environments, along with the incredible abandoned history hidden within it. But this to me just makes me think of some sort of crazy like CGI made world. It just is so grand and incredible. It's so vast and colourful, and it's amazing to see the wee river at the bottom there meandering its way through the land. The little houses just look like little specks. This hill is so steep, folks, you have to be careful you don't lose your footing. I don't know if you can hear it because of the wind, but somebody on a motorbike is totally ripping it up this glen. And I can just hear the engine, but I can't actually see it yet. So I'm not sure. Oh aye, I see it now. They're going, it's two motorbikes, they're going past where I'm parked. It's a beautiful road for a hurl on a motorbike, but it's really narrow, so it's probably quite dangerous at some of the corners. Like if you're leaning over, if a car was to come the other way, it would be super dangerous. Like, but wow, this is just breathtaking, folks. Like, I'm just taking my time because obviously this slippy terrain here, if you stand on some of these boulders the wrong way, your foot goes away from underneath you. But compared to walking up the hill, it's a different world. I just love adventures like this, like into the back of beyond. And you just think this is how a lot of the world may have looked like before humans even walked on the planet Earth. There was probably wild, barren areas like this at times. Other times, massive areas of forest, untouched land. Tracks like this would have maybe been rare. And then once humans started to settle, this is what all main roads would have probably looked like at a certain time. This would have been the main highway or motorway through the land. Up here, roads like this were used from estates and gamekeepers, but also in the early times by the shepherds and drovers of the land, bringing their sheep from one glen to another, one market to another. And there's actually an area down near Cortahay Dyke Head area called Cullow Market, and I believe that's where some of the farmers from up here used to bring their animals down on probably like a market day of some sort. But every area around Scotland had its own little market or whatever. Sometimes drovers and shepherds would take their animals for miles over the land, and you can imagine in the winter the grazing lands would change compared to like the summertime and the springtime. Yeah, I can see little waterfalls and stuff just coming down off the hill between the big green hills. There's just like the stony, rocky waterfall coming down the middle. See, another thing you have to be super careful of as well, folks, at this time of year and then for the next couple of months is actually the extremely venomous Scottish adder, which on summer's day like today, like if the sun's shining, the adders will sit up on rocks like this or even on little clearings in the ground, and you have to watch if you're walking you don't stand on them or put your hand on them if you're climbing, because if they bite you it can be super dangerous. And I think the young adders can be absolutely lethal because they've got more poison than the fully grown ones apparently. But yeah, it's just mad to think there's often these snakes kicking about, and I have seen them previously on videos. I think last year I was up Glen Esk and I was literally like face to face with like 2 adders on one adventure, and it really got the adrenaline going for sure. Another thing with the adders as well, they can move so fast. When you see an adder scurrying, they just move really fast, but also when they go into the grass, even just a little bit, you cannot see them anymore. They're so well disguised. And that's why if you stand on them, if you're walking through the grass, they can just bite you out of a defensive mechanism rather than actually wanting to attack you. Listen to this beautiful scene, folks, with the waterfall just trickling down the hill here beside us. It's an absolute majestic scene, but a crazy thing about this part of the land here, there's actually another waterfall this side, so the wee road's just kind of going on this bit of land between the 2 waterfalls. And I think the other waterfall is actually the runoff from Loch Wharral itself. That's almost like a natural overflow going down that side. And then the little stream at this side is actually the one that we saw coming off way at the top of the hill there, probably from one of the peat bogs which is up there. Look at this, folks, I love to see it. This is just a random little corner of this waterfall landscape right here. Just check it out. Look at these purple, either foxgloves, I think they're called foxgloves. In a scene like this, folks, we're just chilling in paradise. That's the sort of word I would use to describe this. Like, look how clear and fresh the water is. And you can see how wild this land is here. Underneath all this vegetation and overgrowth, you can see the natural earth there. You can see how the burn just wears away at that over the years, exposing the big rocks. carving its way down the valley. And I'm going to get a photograph with this foxglove here in the little stream. Right folks, let's bounce on out of here. This was a cool little spot down here though, I enjoyed that. I was just watching the little stream flow past there, and the bumblebees were fairly enjoying that foxglove plant. It's cool just to snap little pictures of little corners like that, which are hardly seen, but they're thriving with nature and wildlife. They're carved by nature and wildlife. Look at this folks, we've got the wild bog grass growing at the side of the path here, and if you see this growing, it's often a sign that it's pretty watery underfoot. Normally if you're on a bog, you're better avoiding areas with the bog grass. But check it out now, since we've come lower down the valley here, the air has actually become clearer. The landscape looks different again, we're coming lower down. And it is just a crazy long walk. I must say, you're probably better taking like a picnic or some supplies up there with you. I just pretty much headed up with my phone, my car key and my camera here folks, and literally full send up the hill, but it's probably not advised doing that, especially certain times of year up here. It can get extreme. And look here, we've made it to the river crossing. I think I need to go this way or else I'll end up with wet feet, but I think there may actually be a way here. Let's go a secondary route here folks to where I came. I'm going to this rock here and then to that rock there. Let's go for it. Yes, we made it. We made it across the ferocious little stream. Anyway, I'm just about back down at the car now folks. I've just absolutely loved this adventure. The wind's blowing extreme here. Right folks, that's me just about back at my car. I was waiting for a break in the wind there. It's been too extreme to even do an outro, but here I am once again able to see up past these big hills and up towards Glen Clova. But I'm going to end this video here folks. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll be back very soon with the next adventure, wherever I end up going, into abandoned Scotland or a crazy landscape, who even knows folks. But tune in soon, hit the subscribe if you haven't already. We're out here all the time on these adventures. Anyway, I'm ending it here. See you soon.